Good evening. How are you guys? Welcome to my front porch, my quiet place. I wasn't planning on doing a devotional today, but I'm sitting here reading my Bible, and I just wanted to share this with you. So it's sort of a devotional, sort of just a quick thought, I guess. Not a formal devotional, and there's a bug on me. I was reading Philippians again. I've been reading a lot of Philippians because in our Simply Living for Him online women's community, we are writing out the whole book this month, which is a huge blessing. And so this verse just came to mind, and I just started reading it again, and I've read it so many times, and I've talked about it already. But I saw something different, and that's a wonderful thing about God's Word. It never gets old. It never expires. It's not like, oh, I read that and discussed that, and now I'm done. There's always something new. And so I'm going back to Philippians 2. Again, I'll tell you guys, I said it 100 times, but Paul wrote Philippians when he was under house arrest. He was in jail. He had no freedoms. He had no safety. He didn't know what tomorrow brought. And his attitude is just something we could all truly learn from. And so while in jail, this is what he writes. And I'm reading from my NLT. I've been using this one. It was given to me as a gift at a speaking event years ago. I don't usually use it for study, but sometimes I like the way it says things. It says here, chapter 2, verse 14, do everything without complaining and arguing. Okay, so what caught me there, I know in some versions it says do all things without complaining. This one says do everything without complaining. It doesn't say you can complain if the conditions are bad. I mean, I know you're going through a really hard time, so it's okay to complain. Or I know that circumstances are bad, so it's okay to complain. No, it says do everything without complaining. That really hits me because I can't even count the amount of times I complain every day, whether it's out loud or in my head. And literally the internet right now is a complain fest. But it doesn't say you have a right to complain sometimes, given these circumstances. It really says do everything without complaining so that no one can criticize you. It says live clean, innocent lives as children of God, shining like bright lights in a world full of crooked and perverse people. Yes, people, I know right now, most of us are looking around and we're like, this world is in a downward spiral. Believe me, I feel that way constantly. And here it says, we are in a world full of crooked and perverse people. But don't complain. Don't complain. Because you want to shine like a bright light. You will shine the light of Christ in that dark world when you act like Him. Not when you complain and not when you argue. Do everything without complaining and arguing. It's striking me sitting here. Do everything. He didn't give exceptions. You know what? The world is upside down. You have a right to complain. We'll say, oh, but we're human. Yeah, we're human, but we live by the Spirit, not by the flesh. Then it goes on to say, hold firmly to the word of life. Then on the day of Christ's return, I will be proud that I did not run the race in vain and that my work was not useless. And then he says, but I will rejoice even if I lose my life, pouring it out like a liquid offering to God. We're losing a lot of things these days and nobody's rejoicing. And Paul says here, I will rejoice even if I lose my life. Something that struck me here is that Paul is saying, that his work will not be in vain. He wrote these words thousands of years ago when he was going through persecution, loss of freedom, suffering. And God knew we would need those words even today. And so those words apply to us today. These aren't just words we read in a book and we're like, oh, those are nice thoughts, but this is real life. No, this is real life. And so I'm going to say it again. It says here, do everything without complaining and arguing. Everything. So that no one can criticize you. so that you will shine like a light, here it says, in a world full of crooked and perverse people. Paul was living in a world full of crooked and perverse people, and he was shining that light under arrest, in jail. And then he even says that this is not in vain. He says he doesn't want his work to be useless. Don't let Paul's work be useless. Take it to heart. Listen to it. And he says, I will rejoice even if I lose my life. I will rejoice today even if I lose things that are comfortable or near and dear to me, or I don't like the circumstances. I will rejoice. Because God's word says so. And then it says, just like your faithful service is an offering to God, and I want all of you to share that joy. Yes, you should rejoice, and I will share your joy. Paul knew suffering. This world is not our home. We can do all things with that. We do not have to voice every complaint. The more we voice our complaints, the more we blend in with the world, the more we voice our negativity, the more it's contagious. Negativity just begets more negativity. Let's rejoice. Let's rejoice. And let that be contagious. And do everything without complaining or arguing. I'm not saying that. That's what Paul said. That's what God said, not me. If we want to say we believe every word of the Bible is true, then we have to do everything without complaining or arguing. We have to look at the bigger picture. We are to shine in this perverse and crooked world. It's not easy. No one said it's easy. No one's like, yeah, it's easy to rejoice when things are difficult. But I think Paul got that. He was in jail when he said these words.